Before you keep scrolling, stay with me for a minute. Not the distracted kind of staying, where your thumb keeps moving while your mind pretends to listen. I want to tell you something honest, something I think you have been needing to hear, even if you did not realize it until this exact moment. I want to ask you something simple. What is one thing you have been carrying quietly? Something you have not said out loud to anyone? Something you have simply learned to manage on your own, because that felt safer than asking for help. I am not asking you to solve it right now. I am asking because I think many of us have gotten so used to carrying things alone that we forget it was ever optional in the first place. I want to talk about the specific exhaustion of always being the one who holds things together. If this is you, the friend everyone calls when they are struggling, the one who manages every crisis without complaint, I want you to know something important. You are allowed to need support too. You are allowed to fall apart occasionally without that being a failure of your role. The people who depend on your strength would not stop loving you if they saw you struggle. Most of them would feel closer to you, not further away, if you let them see the parts of you that are also tired sometimes. I think many of us learned early that our value came from being useful, from never being a burden. And so we built our identity around reliability, quietly neglecting our own needs in the process. I want to gently invite you to notice today one moment where you could let someone help you instead of insisting you are fine. It does not have to be dramatic. It can be as small as saying, honestly, I am having a hard time today, to someone who has earned the right to hear it. I want to talk about the fear of disappointing people, because I think it quietly controls more decisions than almost any other fear we carry. We shape our choices, our boundaries, even our identities, around avoiding that disappointment, sometimes at real cost to ourselves. But disappointing someone is not the same as harming them. It simply means their expectation and your reality did not match. And that mismatch is not automatically yours to fix by shrinking yourself to fit it. The people who genuinely love you, capable of loving the real version of you, will eventually adjust to your honesty, even if the adjustment takes time. And the ones who cannot adjust are revealing something worth knowing about that relationship, something worth seeing clearly rather than hiding from behind years of careful accommodation.
I want to talk about the quiet courage it takes simply to rest, because in a culture obsessed with productivity, rest has quietly become something we feel we need to earn rather than something we are simply allowed to have. Rest is not something you have to earn through exhaustion. It is something you are allowed to choose, deliberately, even in the middle of an unfinished list, because you are a human being, not a machine measured purely by output. I want to remind you that you do not need to have your whole life figured out right now. You are allowed to still be discovering who you are becoming, slowly, imperfectly, one honest year at a time. Nobody arrives at a fixed, finished identity and simply stays there. Growth does not stop at some magic age where everything clicks into place. The uncertainty you are carrying right now is not evidence that something has gone wrong. It is simply evidence that you are still actively becoming. Think about how differently we treat other people compared to how we treat ourselves. If a friend told you they felt lost, still figuring things out, you would never tell them they are not allowed to feel okay until it is all sorted. You would remind them that uncertainty is part of being human. I want you to offer that same patience to yourself today. The patience you so easily extend to everyone else, but so rarely extend inward. You do not need to wait for some future, more accomplished version of yourself before you are allowed to feel proud of who you are right now. You do not need permission from anyone else to rest, to be gentle with yourself, to trust that you are doing better than your harshest internal voice usually gives you credit for. You are allowed to be exactly where you are, imperfect, still figuring things out, still healing from things you have not fully processed yet, and still entirely worthy of the same patience and care you so easily offer to everyone else. So take a breath, let your shoulders drop from wherever they have been holding tension, and whatever today still holds for you, walk into it a little more gently than you walked into yesterday, trusting that you are enough, exactly as you are right now. In this exact, ordinary, entirely real moment, you stayed until this sentence, and I do not think that was an accident. Some part of you already knew you needed to hear this today. I want to leave you with one small thing before you go. You do not need a perfect plan or a fully healed heart before you are allowed to try again at whatever you have been avoiding. Courage rarely arrives before action. It usually shows up somewhere in the middle of it. Once you have already started moving, despite the fear, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply here, right now, in the middle of your own becoming. And that is genuinely enough.